Welcome to the Shades of Grey podcast with Dr. John Gray, New York Times bestselling author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And now, Dr. John Gray.
Hey everybody, this is such an exciting day for me. Hope you're having a good day too. But for me, this is the launch. It's like a birth of a baby. It's the on on the iPhone and the App Store. There's now my new app. It's now available for people. You can try it out for free. It's amazing. It's fabulous. It's working. You know, it's a complicated thing to help people navigate their inner world. But what happens is we get so busy in the surface level, like what's happening, what's not happening, what should I do? I don't know what to do. And we ignore, in that busyness of the outer world, we tend to ignore what's going on in the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is what rules our whole lives. So we think we have control from the prefrontal cortex, and we do if we're relaxed and we're peaceful. But if we're stressed in any way, then what happens is we lose control of our lives. We're just reacting based upon past conditioning. So this is the other new thing that's coming out now. It's my new book. It should be on Amazon and all the bookstores and Barnes and Noble, all the places for wonderful books. And it's called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, for women only. And it'll be available in a couple of weeks. And it's called Be Happy With or Without a Man. And we've been discussing those ideas recently. But of course, when you're happy without a man, then it makes it so much easier for men to make you happier. And of course, men don't know how to do that. That's why my work is so important. And you think, well, men should read the book, but men generally don't buy books. And also, if you don't do the work, women, the work he does can't work. You have to open your heart for him to come inside. He has to do things to help you open the heart. And the good news is that he hasn't been trained to do those things because it's all new. The traditional ways don't work anymore the way it used to be. And now we have new ways to do it. And the new ways are for women, when you're upset with your husband, one of the aspects of it is to not tell him you're upset with him. But women have to talk in order to feel better. So right here on the screen, you can see, hi, Ken Walls. Ken Walls has just opened up the app. It's called the Mars Venus Heart Space app. And it's fantastic. It becomes not a coach, not a counselor. It's not your friend. It doesn't talk back to you at all. But what it does is it asks you questions. And it asks you 5 questions, which I recommend you answer in 1 minute each. Don't talk for a long time. Don't need to. You're not having a conversation with a computer. I'm not really into that. But what it is, it's gathering the data of what's going on in your life that's causing you stress, and ask specific questions to pull out the data in just 5 minutes. Then what it will do is guide you through a process that I've developed over the last 25 years, which is called the feeling letter process. And the feeling letter process, I teach it also in the book, and I can go into more details in the book. But even without reading the book, if you get the app, it asks you the questions, then it says, now I'm going to write the feeling letter. And the feeling letter is for you to imagine expressing all these feelings inside of you to someone who you believe could listen to you, or someone that you're upset with, and you imagine they're listening to you. So this is the power of this, is then it writes this feeling letter, and it explores for you what people can do on their own, but they typically don't do it unless they're in a 3-day workshop with me and I train them how to do it. The computer will do it for you automatically. It will take your information, your data, and it will write a letter. You pick who you'd like to send it to. I was talking to a woman yesterday, and she's going to write her letter to God, because she's a very spiritual woman. It's kind of like a prayer, but you're sharing all of the deep subconscious feelings like frustration, disappointment, worry, and concern. And if your intensity level is higher, it will explore feelings like anger and your hurt and your sadness and your fears and your regrets. And if your intensity level is even chronic stress, then it will explore your feelings and it will help you reveal what's going on inside of the anger and the hurt and the different fears associated with intensity and shame. So what I found is that whenever somebody is upset, they're really just like at the top of an iceberg. That's what they're feeling on the surface. But underneath are all these layers of feeling. And this app, which you can to get today, try it for free. Go right now, even check it out for free. At least download the app, listen to me, and then use the app. But what it does, it gives you an awareness of what might be lurking under the surface. Now, that's what I do. People pay me a lot of money to sit in my office for 15 minutes or go online. And I listen to them for a little while and they get a chance to have a conversation, which is what goes on with most therapists. But you can sit for 20 years asking people, how do you feel? What else do you feel? What's deeper inside? For me, it's like I cut it short. I just tell you, give me some information and I'll tell you what you're afraid of, what you're scared of, what you're feeling bad about, what you're frustrated about, what you're angry about. And I'll give you the words for it and I'll have you say them. So what the app does is it writes this letter, the feeling letter process, taking you to all the deeper levels of what you're wanting and needing. And you're basically what you're doing is you're looking into a mirror to see what you feel. See, the whole point of why therapy works is you're sharing what's deeper inside and somebody out there is taking it in their awareness. So you can like see yourself out there. You see your externalized. Well, what the app does is you're able to see yourself out there. One of the most common therapeutic tools is called active listening. And active listening is just sort of somebody shares what they're feeling and you reframe it by sharing it back to them in a positive way, just duplicating it. Because when you see yourself over here and you see yourself over there, now your brain can become objective and see yourself at a distance, so to speak. What that objectivity does, it allows your blood flow to go to the objective part of the brain. It flows up to the prefrontal cortex of the brain. Whenever you're upset and having negative emotions, or you're stressed, there are subconsciously lots of negative emotions lurking below the awareness, the common awareness. If you bring those feelings up and you're not using those feelings to change somebody, like I'm angry with you, you should change. But you're just saying I'm angry with you, you should change. But you're not going to share those feelings with anybody. You're doing it just to become aware of what you're feeling. Then blood flow goes back to the prefrontal cortex, to the logical part of the brain, to the wisdom part of you, which is capable of challenging any negative emotion and seeing that there's no reason to hold on to it. So your objectivity does that. It gives you another way of looking at things. It unlocks you from the grip of negativity. When you're focused on negativity, you can't think positivity. So it's like listening to this part of you and this part of you and this part of you. Then when all of the sort of negative voices have been heard, then it's very easy to listen to the positive voices. They're always there. This concept is depicted throughout time. I know in the Renaissance paintings, there's always this sort of dark force on the one side and an angel on the other. And these are the two voices the American Indians talk about in terms of, if you have these two voices and they're always talking to you, who gets to be the loudest? And it's the one you listen to. It's the one you feed. So when you don't deal with your negative emotions by pushing them down, they don't get transformed. They literally have to be briefly heard, just briefly. And then what's deeper than that? And what's deeper than that? And then immediately you can shift by looking at, okay, what is it I'm really wanting? Let your heart open, express what you're really wanting. And it will do it for you to help you remind you of what you're wanting or help you look at possibly what you're wanting. And then all this positive emotion comes up and you're able to forgive. You're able to feel responsible. You're able to see you're part of things. And so this is the emotional processing. So I have all my books, I say you have to process your emotions, because if you don't know how to process your emotions, it says available on iPhone App Store and Android soon. Yes, because Ken he uses Android. So I'm just thrilled and so excited about it. This is something that, the first person I shared it with, she says, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I want to share with all my friends. I have so many friends who are going through stress in their life. Because particularly for women, but men also, men just are not aware of the stress that's lurking in the subconscious mind. And there's two ways for him to connect with that female part of him, which is the emotions, the suppressed emotions. is he can listen to his partner share her feelings, and he'll connect with his own feelings. This is why men really can't live without women. Otherwise, we become like robots in our life, seeking money, seeking addictive substances. Yeah, we want sex, we want these things, but there's no love. It's through women that men learn to love. And ideally, if our mother was in love with our father, we would have a head start on that. But unfortunately, nobody has a head start on that anymore because mom and dad aren't always loving each other. And there's so much divorce and there's so much single mothers and so forth. So the first step is for women to learn how to open their heart. And the way women open their heart is by processing negative emotions. Now, that's not the whole thing. I've written that whole book on how to be happy with or without a man. One part of it is processing emotions, but it is one of the most important things because once you become stressed and you can't let go of your stress, what happens is your brain functions differently. Your brain basically goes through 4 stages, and I'll talk briefly about those 4 stages. They're written about in a book that hasn't come out yet, but I do mention them in some of my earlier books. It's just now I have the biology and the physiology explaining all of this. But the 4 stages are I call them the 4 R's: resistance, resentment, rejection, and repression. And couples will go through this over time, but also you can go through it in a day to build a block around your heart, and then go through them again, and you build a block that goes around your heart. So you build a wall up around your heart. By the time you get to be an adult woman, you got a lot of walls up. And so you have to start taking those bricks out. But every time you process your emotions, you take one of those bricks out that surrounds your heart. And the great thing is one brick out and suddenly your heart is shining. But then another brick shows up and another one shows up. So how that works is, what are the 4 R's? Is resistance is, I'm going to talk about women primarily because it affects women much more than men, but it does affect men. But for women, it's an everyday occurrence, and why is that? Because the 4 R's happen when you suppress emotion. And most people don't realize that men don't suppress emotion nearly as much as women. Now, younger men today do because they don't have high testosterone. But when a man has high testosterone and feels confident and successful, he doesn't have that many negative emotions. It's just not there. That's because he's not in stress state. But when a man is in a stress state, his estrogen levels are rising up, and it's estrogen that gives rise to emotions. So if I'm really upset, I need to be alone. That aloneness helps to rebuild testosterone, and I need to analyze my emotions. And analyzing my emotions also is solving a problem, raises testosterone, but at the same time connects me to my female side. So I've been using this technique for 25 years. It changed. That's why I wrote all these books. Is I'd get upset with my wife. I'd go to my cave. I'd process my emotions. I'd open my heart again, and I'd come figure out, okay, what did I do wrong, and how do I do it better, and bringing out the best in her. And then what happened is I started bringing out the best in her. You'll see my writing changed a bit, and I began writing more and more how women can change men. Because once I learned how to make it safe for my wife to express her feelings, then she started actually taking down the wall around her heart, so much love. And then I started to see how women's love completely transforms a man, and how when a woman opens her heart, she can get a guy to do anything. So let me explain this to you, ladies, it's so key. We men are mirrors of you. If you're happy, a man is happy. If you're unhappy, it makes a man unhappy. Is that we mirror your emotional state. Because if we're attracted to you, it's because we're going to you to connect with our female side, and all of our moods and feeling reactions are regulated by our feelings. Okay, that's underneath. If I feel happy, then I want to do nice things. If I don't feel happy, I don't want to do nice things. It affects what we want, affects what we don't want. So what happens is when women can start taking the bricks down from around their heart, learning to process their emotions, then there's room for a man to make a big difference for you. It's kind of like if a man has a skill and he has a job, and the job pays a certain amount. But if I find another job that pays more, I'm going to go to that. And another job pays more, I'm going to go to that. And I'm going to be more motivated. I'm going to give more. But if I can't feel I'm getting paid in a job, I lose all momentum. If your wall is up around your heart, there's no job for a man. He has to be able to get in there and make a difference in your life. And when women are more independent, it's harder to make a difference in her life. When she's over 40, it's harder to make a difference in her life because she's so much smarter now. She's more independent. She can do so much. What do I need a man for? And now a woman in modern day America, she can go out and make her own money, doesn't need a man. What do I need a man for? She's educated. So if you don't need a man, your wall is just up. There's no way for him to penetrate and get into you to have an effect, because that's what allows men to feel their testosterone goes up. And so when the testosterone goes up and you're working and solving problems, you might feel frustration. You get rid of the frustration by solving the problem. You might feel disappointed. You get rid of the disappointment by figuring out, okay, got to accept that. What am I going to do now? If you have fears that come up, okay, so that's a fear. Well, what should I do instead? Let me take the right action. I feel guilty. I feel bad. Well, what do? I need to change my way. I need to apologize. I need to improve myself. So all of these emotions are transformative for a man. But when a man is in the workplace, he's solving problems. As long as the man's solving problems, these emotions can't affect him that much. At short term, you feel the emotion, you solve the problem, the emotion's gone. That's how men do it. But for women, that doesn't work. If their biology is different, their biology is such that when they have a problem and they feel frustrated or disappointed, they can solve the problem, but the frustration doesn't fully go away. What it does, it gets suppressed, because what's really pushing the feelings away is that she's making testosterone that pushes down her estrogen. But when she comes home and she relaxes, the estrogen, she relaxes now, the pressure's not on. What will happen is the estrogen will start to, the emotions which have been suppressed will start to rise up. And they rise up to be communicated, because it's by communicating her feelings that will lower her stress. So let's say a woman has a stressful day at work. She's suppressing her emotions. When those emotions come up, they come up not about what happened at work. They come up about your husband. So, one of the things Bonnie would get annoyed for me about was I would leave the lights on in the living room, okay? So she paid the electric bills, and they keep going higher and higher. So she was aware of it. I wasn't, and it didn't even bother me. I used to make a lot of money. So that was not even in my radar at all. But she's paying the bills, so she is aware of it. And she's also wanting to be environmentally friendly and all kinds of good stuff. So she would become, for a variety of reasons, she's annoyed with the light. John leaves out the light. Now, what happens is her frustration on some days was great. On other days, it was not great. Some days she saw the light, it was no big deal. Other days, it became a big deal. Why? So the reason for that is that she had a lot of suppressed emotion from her day's work, from her day's activity, from her days of raising children. Whatever activity she's doing, there's always going to be some stressful emotions that you can't express. And for men, you don't suppress it, you just solve the problem, the feelings go away. But for a woman, they get suppressed. And when they become suppressed, there's like a pressure, a tension builds up. And that tension gets released by finding a new target to acknowledge what I'm feeling. So this is in psychology, very basic idea. It's called displacement. 10 things bother you today. You come home and something that normally doesn't bother you bothers you 10 times more. Okay, so that's called displacement. And when it comes up, it's not like I have problems at work and that's stressing me out. It's you're stressing me out. It gets projected onto your husband. It gets projected onto your hair. It gets projected onto your body image. It gets projected onto your children. Your personal life becomes the target of the stress of your impersonal life. So it gets projected where you feel safe. That's the first stage. That's called resistance. So, I experience this as well to various degrees. On a stressful day, I notice this spot on the carpet where my dog peed and I can't clean it up. I have beautiful white carpet and there's just one spot. I mostly cleaned up. So you can almost see it, almost not see it. Most of the time I don't see it, but if I'm stressed, I see it. This is pure biology. When you're under stress, your brain looks for what's the reason for my danger, to protect myself. So if you're coming home stressed, your brain starts thinking, okay, what's wrong? What's wrong in my life, in my personal life? And you start projecting overreaction onto that. So that's resistance. Now, if you don't learn how to let go of resistance, and it's not by changing your partner, It's by changing how you feel. If you can't process your feelings from work, then what happens is you will displace onto your partner. And if you continue doing that, resistance will turn into resentment. Because what happens when that stress builds up, then what happens for women is the brain goes into a stress response, a higher stress response. There's many different levels of stress responses. But now her stress is not going to be just adrenaline. It's going to be cortisol, it's called acute cortisol, a spike of cortisol. And so that's temporary levels of stress. So when she has cortisol, then what happens is her brain will start comparing. Well, look what I'm doing for him, and look what he's not doing for me. And so she starts to feel resentful that she's giving more in the relationship. And what's ironic is in the stage of resentment, her brain logically goes, well, if I'm not getting enough, let me give more. Because women think if you give more, you'll get more. That's a whole subject on itself. But if you're over there giving, and by giving more, you will always get less if you're a woman. If a man gives more, you'll always get more. But if you're with a man, because men don't have the same sense of reciprocity. If my wife's being really nice to me, I just sit on the sofa and think, well, I must have done something good. Whereas if my wife is sitting on the sofa and I do something nice for her, she wants to get up and do something nice for me. It's a completely different wiring in the brain. It's the different reciprocity gene. Men have this efficiency gene, which is never do anything unless you have to. This is why women have to learn how to ask for help. We've done some talks on asking for help. We can always do more. How to ask a man in a way that motivates him instead of a way that pushes him down. So we're in the stage of resentment. So she keeps giving more, comparing, feeling resentful. Her heart is closed. Literally, a resentful woman, a man has no energy in her presence. Literally, it just like gets sucked out of him. And all he's going to do, because when you're resenting and comparing, you're on your male side. You're producing testosterone. And if a man loves you, he'll go to his female side. And when men go to their female side, they become very lazy. That's just the way it is. Make sure you download the app. Thank you. Yeah, it's fantastic. And hey, be sure next week to let me know how the app worked for you. That would be wonderful. I look forward to hearing people's feedback on using the app. This is its birthday. Yesterday was its birthday. What was it? November 1st, November 5th, the birthday of the app. And I'm so happy to have that app. It's the way you process. You can process things from your work day that way. You can also, in resentment, you can process. That's when your feelings are going to be directed to your partner, because they're all already now your partner is the source. So you write the feeling letter, or you have the computer write the feeling letter to him or to her, and it will bring you back through all your negative feelings. It'll help you get in touch with what you want and need, and then it will help you. It will create a response where you imagine in your brain your partner has just heard your feelings, and now they're going to respond back with love and support. And then it's just going to, then as you imagine getting that love and support, see, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. You're speaking all this out loud. It thinks you're actually getting this support. And so what's the point? People say, what's the point of getting the support if he's not doing it? The point is you're giving yourself the support. And then the point of that is that when you give yourself support, when you're upset, you feel good. And then when you feel good, you ask yourself, what am I learning? What else am I feeling? What other positive feelings are there? And all that is love that you're giving to yourself is connecting you back to the source of love which is within you. You come back to your innocence. You come back to who you truly are, this loving being. It's a fantastic gift to give to yourself. So that you're in resentment, so you write the letter to your partner. Now, if you stay in resentment, you don't process your feelings. Then what quickly happens, you go to the third R, which is rejection. When you reject, you stop wanting. Okay, because see, behind all of these negative emotions, they're all just saying, I don't want this, I don't want that, you should have done this, I don't want to be this way, I don't want you to do that. All negativity is just blocked desire. So after you first felt all the blocks, the negative emotions, now you find out what's behind it is your desire. And when you feel the pure desire flowing rather than the anti-desire, which is I don't want. So, all negative emotions are I don't want. Then you come back to what I do want. Now, this is a simple logic. All this just makes such sense. You just have to have a format to make it work. But think about how you even know what you want. I ask people all the time, so tell me what you want. It's like they can't rattle off 50 things. You should be able to feel so clearly what you want. Now, that's a training in itself, although this process helps you go deeper in what you want. But what I do is this thing, and I've been doing it for years, which is, I'm driving in my car, there's a digital clock. And whenever I happen to see a significant number, like 222 or 1001 or 1111, there's certain numbers, and also my birthday, 1228. If I see these things show up, and they show up all the time because I set my brain, it's called the reticular activating system. I just say, show me those numbers when it's the right time. And so my brain will typically at those times will notice the digital clock. It doesn't at other times. And what I do during that time is during that like next 30 seconds to 45 seconds, I just say to myself, okay, what am I wanting today? Okay, where am I going? What do I want? What I want to achieve? What I want to have? What do I need? Whatever's going on. And like today, I just say, I want you all to use my app. So my whole talk will be configured based on reticular activating system. Once you set it in a direction, it stimulates millions, billions of neurons all connecting together, data points out of the subconscious mind to help guide my brain into fulfilling the task, to do what I'm wanting my voice to do what my body needs to do. The brain does all this stuff. The reticular activating system gets activated when you feel what I want. But it has to be it's not what I don't want. If you start feeling what I don't want, you just keep getting what you don't want in your life, feeling what you do want. But it has to be heartfelt. It has to be after releasing the negative emotions. You come back to what I want. So, and of course, what you want is you want this book for women only they just put up, which is all the skills. You see, you need to have skills to enlist a man into helping you. We are already programmed biologically to get rewarded for helping women. If I ever help a woman and she gives me feedback that I've helped her, my testosterone goes up. This is the number one thing. If I help anybody, my testosterone goes up. But if I help somebody I love, somebody who's an embodiment of my female side because I'm attracted to her, I have sex with her, I go into her, when I want to help her, huge amounts of testosterone comes up. And this is the reason why men really need to be in relationships with women. And I just say it politically for a moment, never vote for anybody who can't have a happy wife or a happy husband or happy children. They don't know anything about the heart. You can't know the heart unless you're in relationship, because that's where you have all the big lessons in life. And I know I was a monk, I was a very loving person, whatever, didn't have a clue of having to deal with the deeper issues that rule our thinking. In the East, they have an idea. They say, you think you're in control of your life. It's like your subconscious mind is like a big elephant. And you're like this little person riding on top of the elephant, giving a stick, having it go here, having it do here, giving it commands, and it will do that. But as soon as that elephant sees a tiger, you have no control at all. Okay, that elephant's going to take off and do whatever it wants to do. It's not going to think about you in the slightest bit. And that is our subconscious mind. And when the subconscious mind is threatened, that means cortisol, you have no choice at all, no free will. We think we do, we don't. The only free will we can do is to have awareness of the elephant is out of control and up here. And I know what the elephant needs. I can feed it what it needs. And that feeding it what it needs to come back into balance is first processing your emotions is one thing, but then also not having the relationship skills to ask for help and get it. But first, if your heart's not open, all my techniques on how to ask for help, all the processing things like that, which I have a lot of, all my books are filled with them, and my new books will be filled with them even more, is how to enlist the man's support. And women go, I was talking with one Chinese woman, and she said, well, that's not me. I shouldn't have to do anything. He should know how to do. I said, okay, be lonely for the rest of your life. Be bitter, be resentful, and go into rejection where you don't even want to ever have sex, and you don't want to do what he wants to do, and you don't want to cooperate, and you can't cooperate, and you're rigid. That's what happens is you become tough woman. Yeah, I'm tough. I don't need anybody. Or I'm tough. I'm not going to do what you want. These are automatic reactions. You have no control over yourself. This is what goes on, is that we lose touch with our heartfelt soul's desire. And the more aligned you are with your soul's desire, the more creativity comes into your life, your power to manifest the world. Because ultimately, when you're in touch with your soul's desire, you're in touch with that desire which is ruling the whole world. Just align yourself with nature, align yourself with God, if you want to put it that way. You're aligning yourself with the intelligence that creates everything. And when you want, something's going to come to you to support you. You can't control anybody, but the intelligence, the universe just responds to your positive desires. And this is what all the manifestation stuff's all about. Just imagine having what you want, then feel gratitude and happiness, and then feel this is what I want. See, when you get what you want, yes, this is what I want. You have it. That's that pure desire. So anyway, coming back to the 4 R's, these are stages that can happen over years where the whole relationship you're just rejecting all the time. And then you get to the 4th stage, which was repression. And then you just have no desire. You have no sex desire at all. You have no desire to spend time with your partner. You're not attracted to them. You're not excited by them. But you can be like roommates. Life can be practical. And a lot of people have that. And you love each other. You're not in love with each other. You can't fully feel your love. But you have found peace. This is your 2 old comfortable shoes living together, and the thought of having sex is the most foreign idea you've ever had, and your body's aching, and this is aging and getting old. People all go into repression because they've been going through these stages. Hey, thanks for sharing the show. I appreciate it, Drax. Appreciate it. So you have the stages of repression. Now that can take many years to go through these stages. People's lives, what happens to them? If we start out with, we're so innocent, full of energy and positivity, we become jaded, the suppressed emotions, rejecting things at a certain point, losing our ambitions, our drive, and then finally we become repressed. And when we become repressed, the whole bodily function starts shutting down. We don't have our life force anymore. What we're going to do is keep activating the life force, and relationships can do that if we allow ourselves to not go through those 4 stages. Now, so it's stress that causes us to lose control, and well done, Ken, for bringing up the Mars lithium and Venus lithium orotate, Mars lithium orotate. And these are powerful supplements, to lower your stress levels. And this is like everything about getting control, opening your heart, is managing your stress levels. Now, women will notice the results right away. Kids notice the results right away because they're in touch with emotions. If men have ups and downs with emotions, they will notice it right away. If men are doing the Mars, they won't notice as much as women will notice. It might take a while for it to kick in, but you'll notice balance happening in your life in terms of connecting with the people you love. But practically speaking, this lithium, you put it in a petri dish, and it will actually cause brain neurons to multiply. It causes brain neurons to grow. Now, along with that, which is why I'm so excited to share this with you, I always had to make a little bit of excuses for lithium because it is illegal around the world, except in America. It's not illegal to take around the world. It's illegal to buy because the pharmaceutical industries have repressed anybody from knowing about this, from being able to buy this. There's no negative side effects, but if you ask Chad, it will say, oh, if you take too much, it has negative side effects. That's because doctors used to give 500 times the dose because they had an inferior form of lithium carbonate. This is lithium orotate. There's a lot of different kinds of lithium, but Harvard University has now shown this product that I'm the major promoter of for the last 25 years. Okay, I'm out there doing it over and over and over, and seeing the results with all the people I work with. Right away, things get better and the stress levels start dropping in their life. And Harvard University has been doing a 10-year study on lithium orotate. And what they say is they tried all the other lithiums, didn't work. Lithium orotate is the one that works. And they're now, they're prescribing it. They're recommending it to be prescribed as a preventative for Alzheimer's disease. And if you have Alzheimer's disease, it's a treatment, they say, which is helping people reverse Alzheimer's disease. And that's just the lithium orotate. I don't just promote that. That's the missing factor because in our society today, we're so stressed. Lithium helps your body cope with stress. It helps to lower stress. So when you're stressed, you're using up your lithium. So you need to replenish it more when you have a stressed life, or if you have any addiction in your life, you have no lithium at all in your bloodstream. If ever you have ups and downs in emotions, you don't have lithium. You need this mineral, just like magnesium, and you need magnesium and you need calcium. We all know those, so you don't need to hear me talk about the importance of that. But what I've done here is given you the lithium, the calcium orotate, which delivers it into the brain, and the magnesium orotate that delivers it in the brain, because they work together with lithium. And what happens is the calcium excites the dopamine, and magnesium produces the serotonin. These are like the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine. And they're going back and forth all the time. But what regulates it, keeps it going in balance, is lithium. If one becomes too strong, then you climax and it's over for days. So you want your brain working all the time. And so you've got the lithium to regulate it. You've got the calcium, the magnesium orotate. No other product has this all combined for you. And then over the years, I kept refining it. If you look on the label there, it has saffron. Saffron is now people seeing that's really good to calm, to produce serotonin. And it also has the added benefit of taking away food cravings. Literally, it gives you a sense of I'm satisfied after a meal. And that's what people notice, is that there's not that, what more can I eat? What more can I eat? And you just have to do it 2 capsules a day. Or in the beginning, if you want immediate results, because you're so deficient in it, 2 capsules twice a day. But you won't need to do that. And more is not better beyond that. That's I used to know that I do know the originator of Whole Foods. And, I figured he's got good connections. Can I get it into Whole Foods? And he tried, he couldn't. And he said, well, there's nothing against the law in America about selling it. It is against the law to sell it almost everywhere else in the world, but not against the law to use, because it's only minerals. Best time of the day is whenever you can take it, okay? But you can take it anytime. And if you have extra stress, then you can just double the dose under extra stressful days. It's just replenishing. It's a nutrient your brain needs. It's a mineral your brain needs, and you can burn it off very quickly. And so the saffron is there. Then there's other things. Another favorite one I have is rhodiola rosea. And that really got me excited about all this back in the day when I was learning it, because the people in the Caucasian mountains typically live healthy at 100. And they make this tea, and the tea is made from Arctic root. And the extract of Arctic root tea is rhodiola rosea. And they did research on it. This is 30 years ago. And it increases dopamine and serotonin in the brain. I mean, just simple rhodiola rosea, an amazing supplement. And what this does is you've got the lithium to balance those things. You calcium, magnesium, you've got the saffron, and that's just a few of the extra ingredients I've got in there. But that's enough and to talk about right now, because I'm more excited about my app, because what we have to learn is how to process our emotions and not go through those 4 R's. And if you are gone through the 4 R's, because every time you go through an emotion where you're upset, what will happen is you suppress your emotions, you resist. Then your brain will start comparing that day what you're doing, your partner's not doing. And then you'll feel, okay, well, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to let him hear my feelings. He won't listen to me anyway. So now you go into rejection. And then it gets buried. It goes into it gets repressed. You forget about it completely. And everything is just normal again. That's the great thing about repression is if you repress things, you don't get upset. Except that your ability to be happy and fulfilled and loving and forgiving and apologetic, all these important things, is diminished a little. It's diminished a little. And your tendency to go straight to, your tendency to go to resistance becomes faster and faster and faster over time. And then over time, your tendency to get right into resentment is there all the time. And then over time, your tendency is just to be in rejection. I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to give to my partner. And what's so interesting is not giving more to your partner. For women, that's actually a good thing to do, except that now you're not going to give more to your partner because you're mad at them, you resent them, and your heart is closed to them, as opposed to open your heart by not giving more to a man, but giving a man the opportunity to give you more. That's called asking for help. And I've talked about this in great detail, but I want to remind women, because you forget about this stuff, and men, you can tell your partner. This new book I have is something, that every man should give to a woman. and because what it does is it makes men the hero again. Instead of us putting down men, instead of holding on to negativity towards men, show women how amazing men are and how you can get what you want from a man. And what women have is this sobering realization that everything they've been doing in relationships has only harmed their relationship. Nothing they do. If you're not in a great relationship, there's something missing here. And of course, the brain wants to go, oh, what's missing is him. He's not doing it. And you have all the evidence, because when you go through the 4 R's, he can't give you more. He will become everything you say he is, because you have the power to push him down, to knock down his testosterone. And you have the power, just by opening your heart, to raise his testosterone. So in this way, what's going on between men and women is women have all the power in relationships, because men, if they're having sex with you, or they're attracted to, at least in the beginning, he will mirror all your states. Even today, at 74, it becomes even more clear, because I have so many things that give me fulfillment. I can live without sex. It's no big deal. And however, because I provide the right support for my wife, she gets turned on to me. And so then I mirror that, and I'm so turned on. Okay. It's like, we live in this world of communication. And what we don't realize is that most communication happens in the subconscious mind. And it happens by feeling, actually through smell. Whenever a woman is happy, she will put out certain pheromones. And those pheromones meant, we all have these little noses, a little nose inside of the nose, 2 little flaps. And all they do is they're detecting pheromones. If I go into a room and there's a man who's dangerous but looks good, I'll have a stress response, because he looks good. But if he's dangerous, it means his hormones are out of balance. It means his estrogen is too high, his testosterone is too low. Because anytime a man is violent or evil, his estrogen will be too high, his testosterone will be too low. That's a stress. If we have no stress, all we are is God's children blessing the world. Stress brings us into the world of being conditioned by all the evils of our generations, all their problems and everything. We absorb it all in the first 7 years of life. We have become conditioned. And then as we get older, it becomes solid. We can't change it, but we can change it. We can change it at any stage. Research is showing the brain is plastic, but you have to increase the plasticity of the brain. And what increases plasticity of the brain is emotions, negative emotions. If you have negative emotions and you resolve them, which is what the app does, in 20 minutes, 5 minutes of you talking, and 15 minutes, it writes out your feeling letter, you read it out loud. It writes out your response letter, you read it out loud. And you just use a little imagination. And again, people say, well, what's the point of having this computer write the response? It's only responding to what you said. It's not a computer talking to you. It's just reflecting back what you've said. I'm not really into the whole AI, making your AI your therapist and talking to your therapist. It's just it's another form of ADHD. It's just like social scrolling. Social media is where you're going that one thing after another, quick hits of dopamine, and you don't even know what you watched. It just like goes in. It's passive dopamine stimulation. And when you have passive dopamine stimulation, you lose touch with, for men, they become lazy. They lose touch with their ability to make dopamine through their actions. For women, their heart shuts down. They no longer feel that they need a relationship to stimulate their estrogen. What happens is, and to get that dopamine hit, is she's getting a dopamine hit, but it's not going to, it overstimulates dopamine, which causes desensitivity of her dopamine receptor sites, which means that she needs more help in order to feel satisfied in a relationship. And that's called just being picky. When women find their brain just ruminating on, well, he didn't say this, but why did you do that? And what's going on? And what did I do wrong? All that stuff is inhibited dopamine function. Is that you're not making enough estrogen in your body. Just for men, if you're not making enough testosterone in your body, you will have this stress response. And simply put, when you have a stress response, you no longer have free will. That's the most important thing you can hear today, is you don't have free will. But what will return your free will, it's conditioned responses. You're just going to react the way your parents would have reacted, or the way the uncle reacted, or somebody reacted. It's in the genes. This all gets passed on in the genes. And based upon your current situation, what you've done in your life, you activate which ones of those genes and whatever. but we are all conditioned responses. In a sense, we're robots. And if we talk to a robot as well, we'll become more like robots. We need human interaction. We need pheromone interaction. I need my brain to relax, needs to be in the presence of other people who have hormonal balance, which means they're safe. And for a woman, even more so. She needs to have the pheromones that a man produces when he's not stressed. So we have stress pheromones and we have unstressed pheromones, love hormones. So when you're feeling your heart is open, you put out a smell. This is why some people have a charismatic authenticity to them, is they're putting out those pheromones. People can just be in the environment and they will experience that. And this is the more physical way to look at this. Now, heart math, who measures frequencies, they've also found that when your heart is open, when you're feeling love, your brain goes into what's called brain coherence. They can measure it if you're thinking about someone you love or your children, and just like your heart will start going into coherence with your brain, and your body will put out a field of energy that is felt by other people subconsciously. So we are always interacting with each other in a subconscious way. Yay. All right. Thanks for downloading the app. Next week, let me know how it works. Or let us know at marsvenus.com contact and tell me what your experience was. I'm so looking forward to it. And if there's any additions that people would like on it, let us know. I know one of the things the app does is after it writes this letter, so that your subconscious mind hears yourself getting what you need in response to your feelings, then it affirms how that makes you feel, and you'll resonate with those feelings. Then it creates affirmations for you, 13 affirmations for you to pick one. And then it writes a commentary supporting you in that affirmation. Then it will give you, if you choose, push a button and give you an analysis of how your brain was hijacked and how you can reframe that hijacked and change your thinking. Then, since it's app, this is where something app does produce, the AI. It will write a poem for you. It's very, very sweet little poem based upon what you're going through. So it's a personalized poem to the data that it received of the stress that you're going through. And then we'll also write a story for you if you wish. Now, having said all that, the app does all that. Somebody just recently wrote to me and said, with the affirmations that you give me, it has you repeat them 3 times in the app. Can you send me a notification? So that's our next upgrade, is we'll be sending notifications to people who sign up of their app that they picked. And my recommendation is, regardless of how you feel, whatever's going on in your life, at least do the app once a week. Yeah, in terms of, and I would normally think that's enough, because when I would write feeling letters, it was always if my wife upset me. And occasionally if something bad happened in my life, I would write a feeling letter. Well, it turns out that because I was debugging this thing for the last 6 months, I have to always go through the whole app in order to debug it and see what's working, what's not working, and so forth. And I'm going over the same stuff that, the things that bother me, but don't bother me that much. What I found is by doing it many, many times, I'm like so balanced. I'm so balanced, even though I'm pretty much describing the same challenges that I have. Like, oh, this book's just taking so long to write. Oh, that book didn't sell so well. Oh, this is like standard information I carry around. But just to review it, just for a few minutes of just dipping in. So it's kind of like when I see 11:11 on the digital phone, digital clock, I just take that moment to reflect on what I want. And by just going to the app and just looking at things that are bothering you in your life, and just be picky about it, it will bring you back to feel it more fully, feeling what you're wanting and needing in your life. And when you can feel what you want, and it's a heartfelt desire, what happens is that there's a seed within every desire, which is not only this is what I want, but it gives you the confidence and the trust that you can have that. So, how do you help people overcome fear and whatever? Because you have to have trust. Well, feel what it is you want. And when you're feeling it, when your heart's open, there's a seed of trust inside that desire, in that seed of desire. And there's also a seed of confidence in that desire. And from that seed of desire and confidence and trust, the whole potential of how you can achieve that goal will be activated inside your brain. And if the goal is totally unrealistic, what will happen is the brain will help to adjust that. in terms of becoming more realistic, but just honoring the voices inside of you, the positive voices inside of you. But it's kind of like, first you have to listen to the negative voices. And I think that this is what's so great about, online social media. The good side of this whole thing is it's a place of freedom for people to speak their mind, whether you agree with them or not, is that you're able to speak your mind and without consequence of somebody canceling you or punishing you or destroying your business or whatever. What happens is when people have the freedom to express themselves and other people have the freedom to express themselves, you go, I don't like what that person says, for example. Well, what do I say? It makes you more self-aware. So communication is the whole key, is greater self-awareness of what we like, what we don't like, what we think, what we don't think, what we believe, what we don't believe. And anytime something you can't talk about, if you can't talk about something, that's a problem. Now let's apply that to our relationships. If I can't talk about something to my partner, then I hold it back. Well, that creates stress. And then what's the other option? Well, then I should say whatever I feel and whatever I think. That's what people are doing today with their spouses. No, that's like an atomic bomb. It's what happens is what you do is you communicate what your partner can hear. Okay, you communicate what your partner can hear. This is intimacy. Now, if I can have the freedom, the outlet, like the app is an outlet. Thank you so much, Therese. The outlet is for you to express whatever's inside of you without any consequence. Because, when you're talking to your partner, as soon as you start to criticize anything, I'm angry you did this. Well, immediately they're going to get stuck into why are you angry about that, as opposed to what else, and tell me more, and so forth. So being able to talk into an app just frees you to sort of unload. And then it has the programming, the prompts that I've developed, which will actually help you become more aware of what's deeper inside. And this is all like very, very important, which is the freedom to communicate. And in relationships, I have the freedom to communicate with my partner when my heart is open. But at other times when my heart isn't open, I need to express my feelings. And so what we have right now is freedom of speech, where people are free to express their feelings. They have to be free to express their feelings. What happens with the app is it's very efficient in being able to transform your negative to your positive. Because let's say that you're out there and you're protesting against something and you're angry and you're upset, or you feel nobody's listening to me. When you talk and you feel nobody's listening to you, you only produce more stress. This is why women, if you talk to your husband in any way that he can't hear, it will actually produce more stress in you, and it doesn't really work. So this is like a blessing for people to be able to use this. And ironically, once again, everything is like a positive and negative. AI is so good. But if you're talking to AI like it's your girlfriend or like it's your therapist or somebody giving you comfort, what's happening is you're now stimulating higher levels of dopamine by interacting with a robot than you would have interacting with a human being. And you're not getting any feedback in terms of pheromones or energetic frequency fields. You basically start to experience isolation. It becomes empty. In the beginning, it's exciting, just like for men, porn is exciting, but it only creates an addiction for more porn, for more indifferent casual sex, as opposed to making love with your partner. And of course, I should always bringing in, because people always, when they hear me speak, want to talk about keeping the attraction alive. Well, if you're in a committed relationship, you have the potential for a lifetime of great sex, if that's something that's important to you. And it certainly is to me. Making love is so, so powerful. It's what brings us together. You want to stay together. You want to feel that attraction so that you can make love and you can feel harmony so much of the time. When you're attracted to your partner, you're so flexible. You're not into rejection. You're not into resentment. You're not into resistance. Your heart is open. So how do you keep that polarity? Now, this is so basic. It's so simple to understand once you get how we've all gone the wrong direction here. The idea is as men become more feminized and women become more masculine, you lose the polarity. Polarity is like a magnet. There's a north pole and a south pole. And, hormonally, that's when men's testosterone levels are 20 times higher than women's. My testosterone is 20 times higher than any woman in the world. Okay, basically, that's what it is. And it's 25% higher than I was a young man, only because I know all this stuff. I practice it. Most men's testosterone goes down. But here you've got testosterone if you're a man. Whenever a man is not stressed, his testosterone levels will be at least 10 times higher than a not stressed woman. And if a man is romantically attracted to his partner, whether it can be a stranger as well. It's just when a man feels arousal, his testosterone levels temporarily will double. It will go up much, much higher. And if it's sexual, if it's romantic, then while its testosterone goes up, also his estrogen goes up. This is what women give to men. If men's just with a computer, your testosterone is going up, it can help lower stress. But at a certain point, it doesn't help raise your estrogen. And if men don't have a certain amount of estrogen, they'll be stressed as well. It's just that the major cause of stress for men today is low testosterone. And usually when a man has low testosterone, his estrogen will be much higher. So now you get all these incels who are not interested in being with women and whatever, because they are so far on their female side. How can you be attracted to a woman? You've got to be on your male side, and your estrogen is low, your testosterone is high. And now by connecting with a woman, you start to find this balance. And this is why relationships have always, it's what you get the biggest reward in your body in terms of hormonal balance, in terms of hormonal reward, in terms of happiness and ecstasy. And you get this other hormone called prolactin, which we talk about. And somebody asked me a question a while back, which was, well, what about the prolactin levels that are too high? Because there is a disease, which is not a good disease to have. It's a health condition. It has nothing to do with stress, a good hormonal balance, and a committed relationship. It's just that there is a situation where you're so out of balance that your body produces high amounts of prolactin as a way to cope with your imbalance. But it's your body's out of balance. Your body is misfiring. It's the same thing with estrogen. You know, when they say that, you know, there's estrogen sensitive cancers. Well, it's not like estrogen is bad. This is basically a disease that's in your body, and the symptom of it is too much estrogen. But basically, anything through love and through relationship that balances your estrogen with testosterone is going to take away those problems, or at least help take away those problems. So estrogen at the wrong time of the month, really high levels of estrogen after ovulation is actually a problem. Women after ovulation, their estrogen levels have to be up, but their progesterone levels have to be higher. So always they need estrogen. It's just too much estrogen is not a good thing after ovulation. And then when you get to be beyond menopause, it's a whole talk I can give on women have estradiol. And when they say that they're estrogen dependent, that cancer is estrogen dependent, it's not making enough estradiol, it's making estrone. And estrone is the hormone for women of when you feel I don't need anybody. And that's called weak estrogen because it doesn't have all the benefits of estradiol. Estradiol takes away your wrinkles, keeps you young. Estradiol makes your bones strong. Estradiol calms your brain. Estradiol gives you romantic feelings. Estradiol gives you lubrication down south, makes sex enjoyable. All that is estradiol, and menopause takes that away for women if they don't know how to continue making love, either physically or at least emotionally. Because it's when a woman feels vulnerable, I need help, and help is on the way, or help is here, that is what produces estradiol. And ironically, when you go through menopause, now your body makes estrone. And you kind of go, well, why did it do that? That's just the doorway to death over time. And well, your body did that. It'd be a great thing if you also knew how to be making estradiol, and then you bring in estrone, then you even have more wisdom. You're more peaceful. This is it's like saying I don't need anybody, so you don't have problems. So imagine I need my husband, but when he's not here for me today, that's no big deal because I can do for myself. But look, he's here, so let me use him. Let me benefit from him. And that's another thing I was writing about just yesterday, this whole wonderful section on using a man. I say this all the time, and I see it kind of irk some women, like, you shouldn't use somebody. It's because women don't want to be used. Women are not tools. Don't use me. I feel cheated if you use me. You're just having sex with me for your own pleasure. How dare you do that? How dare you use me and take my money or whatever. But I'm happy. If you appreciate me, I'm a tool. I do this. Use me. This is what I've done. This is what my app does. Use my app. Use me. As long as I get rewarded for it. This is men. We are like, our whole well-being is based upon, am I making a difference? Can I do something? And if nobody is needing me or depending on me, then I become weak, less motivated, more grumpy, irritable, all the bad symptoms of men with high estrogen without testosterone. So I think we're now at 11:01. Is it 11:01? Yes. Well, that's a good place to end. It's at 11:01 to end our talk today. I'm going to review a little bit what we went over. I think that would be good. We covered a lot of ground here. We talked about the new app and how important it is to process your emotions. If you don't process your emotions, then you end up spewing them on your partner and shutting him down. And then he will mirror the wall around your heart. As your heart builds up, the wall around your heart builds through the 4 R's. He will go through those as well. He mirrors you. And let's look at the biology of men mirroring. There's other factors as well, but simply put, when you're not making high levels of estrogen, women, you're not making the pheromone that will raise his testosterone. If you're making low levels of estrogen, now his testosterone levels will drop. So you've just changed his whole demeanor just by interacting with you. The only way he can raise his testosterone is get away from you and go somewhere else. Because if you have low estrogen, being with you does not inspire his testosterone at all. But if your estrogen is up, your heart is open, his testosterone goes up. And when he does something for you, because you ask him to do something, his estrogen will go up as well and his heart opens. So another subtlety to all this is there's so many great tools and techniques and whatever to lower your stress, which is basically to create in your mind a sense of safety. But in just changing your mind to create a sense of safety does not bring up the unresolved feelings that are still stored inside of you. And as soon as life is a little dangerous, it all just shoots up. So that's one thing. So 2, this is why using the app to find stress reduction is more profound, at least in my point of view, although I think all those other ways of lowering stress are good. That's a good thing. But 1 is this is going to allow you to remove the bricks around your heart as opposed to just relaxing, because those bricks will show up as soon as a little danger, then boom, that tendency to react according to one of the R's is going to be there. So that is one point. And the second point is, let's say that you're just using your app all the time to lower your stress, but you're not doing the other things I suggest in my book, which is be happy with or without a man. Because to be happy with a man, you can be happier with a man if you ask for help. So let's say you go to your app, you lower your stress, or you go for a walk in nature, you lower your stress, and you lowered your stress, and now you're all this happy person. But if you're not asking for help from a man and he's making you happier, he doesn't raise his testosterone in your presence. He needs to experience that he helps you for his testosterone to come up for you. That's what creates the attraction. And when you just find your happiness without him, you're going to have a dead relationship. You're going to have a repressed relationship. If you find your happiness on your own and find happiness with him, meaning more happy, or getting his help to feel happier, getting his help. That's what builds the intimacy between you. That's what creates the attraction and the passion. And something happens that you got to watch out for. As soon as you get married, and you're in a committed relationship, and he's devoted to you and he's mirroring you and all that, if you're stressed, he'll mirror that. We mirror you more depending upon how close we are to you. And then there's another factor here that causes us to mirror you, and that's the hormone of prolactin. When you have sex with your partner and you're in a committed relationship, you produce way more prolactin, 5 times more prolactin than you would if it was just a casual relationship. And then what that prolactin does, frees you from looking to other people. Instead of being attached and then disattached and having attachment anxiety, avoidance attachment, you bond, which means that men don't need to spend as much time in the cave. It means that women don't feel so needy. You feel connected all the time. That's a bonding. However, with that comes a lack of interest in sex because there's no gulf. You're like one. So there's no place to go to come together. So how do you keep having passion if you've got the comfort and ease of prolactin? Well, you maintain polarity. If my life stimulates enough testosterone and then doing things for you creates more testosterone, so I'm more masculine and you're more feminine, which means you're happy in your life and you become happier through sharing your feelings with me, through asking for help from me, for making your life easier for me, learning how to ask for little things. We did a whole talk on that, the 5-minute ask, where you ask a man every day to do something less than 5 minutes. That has to be fully understood how to do that. But when you're using your partner to raise your estrogen levels to higher levels, now you have prolactin, which means there's less conflict, everything is more steady, but also you have polarity, then you have attraction as well as no conflict. And gradually you take down those bricks out of the wall. When there are conflicts, you resolve them quite easily because you, instead of fighting it out, you go to your corners and you process your feelings, come back to love, and then from a centered, loving place, reflect on what you said during the argument, apologize, forgive, adjust. And there's all these techniques for how to compromise in a relationship. We have to do a whole show on compromising in a relationship. We need to do a whole show on apologies, the importance of apologies and forgiveness. A little hint into that, ladies. If you want a man to apologize, you have to learn to apologize. And of course, what men need more than anything is a woman's acceptance and forgiveness, accepting him, loving him just the way he is. And women can't forgive unless they process their emotions, 1. 2, once you've processed your emotions, you have to feel apology to him whenever you can't forgive him. This is the clincher. If you basically have difficulty forgiving, it's because you have difficulty apologizing. Thank you, Shell, for reposting this. I appreciate it a lot. I think a lot of people get benefit of this. But, when you have a problem and two people fight it out, afterwards they can sort of forgive and accept each other, often because they both realize they said things they regret. But if you're like thinking you're doing everything perfect and your partner made the mistake, it's very hard to forgive them, because women can only forgive when they realize they're part of the problem. Because if you're not part of the problem and you have something to apologize for, then you're a victim. And all the victims in the world are the unhappy people, and they just create more and more victim, because when you feel victim, you've got a wall up. You're afraid. You're not trusting. You're going to be hurt again. So you build these walls to protect yourself from being hurt. But in protecting yourself from being hurt, you can't come out either. You lose touch with your ability to give freely and to love freely. And your unconditional love, which is what we want to get back to, is this part of us which can give love in a kind of unconditional way. Certainly, there's always some conditions, but what happens is when your relationship on a conditional level is fulfilling each other's needs, then it's like your bank account, your love bank becomes so big, you can start doing charity work. Okay, you can overflow and give and give and give. So your partner can make all the mistakes in the world. It doesn't matter. You forgive it quite easily because they did all this other wonderful stuff for you. And so that's what we're doing. We're learning to fill up our love banks so that we're generous, and our partners don't have to be so perfect. We don't get so sensitive, so upset about things, or so demanding, and so forth. So yes, thanks so much for reminding me to let people know. Please repost this live stream. It's so, so helpful. And the more people that can learn to take responsibility for their resentments and their anger and their hurt and their fear, without saying, you have to change before I can feel good again. See, that puts you always in a victim mentality. And all negative emotions reinforce victim mentality. It doesn't mean push them down. It means process them in private. And in processing them in private, you can let them go so easily. Another reason why the app works so well is that when you're sitting with your app, there's no danger around you. And when you're expressing your feelings, nobody's ever going to hear these things. You can erase it completely, or you can save it, and we'll save it if you wish. But you can say anything you want, and nobody's going to bother you. That allows you to look at yourself. And then as you look at yourself, then you can imagine your brain is going, gee, nobody's stopping me. And when nobody stops you because they're getting defensive, you might be hurting their feelings and so forth, then you're able to go to a deeper level of what's going on inside of you. And then from that deeper level, which also gives you ability to imagine better. Children are all imaginative. We come back to our emotions. What happens is now we can imagine receiving the support we need and imagine how that make you feel. and you're ready to go. So listen, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Rich, thank you for being here with me and getting all the information. And we'll look forward to seeing you. And where are we going again?
Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt.
Yeah, why don't you tell everybody about that?
Next week, it's our global conference. We have coaches from all over the world flying to Egypt. We get to spend 4 days with John and, more importantly, all the other coaches. We feed off of that.
And you have coaches all around the world.
43 countries.
That's amazing. I think I have a best-selling book in 45 countries, so you're getting close. You're getting close.
We're trying to catch you.
So,
We're trying to catch you. But we have such a great time. We're going on a safari. We do quad rides. We're going on a boat, and all of it with you.
Yeah, we're having a great time. We get together. We talk about our successes, understanding. I always give more talks and so forth. These are our Mars Venus coaches, and you can go to marsvenuscoaching.com if you want to talk to a coach or if you want to be a coach. Rich, what does it take to become a coach?
We interview you. There's an application process. We want you to meet some of the coaches and see if you fit into the culture and what we're trying to accomplish by changing the world one relationship at a time.
And what else does it involve? The training. What is the training?
Weeks of training, right? It's literally 4 months, every single week, learning step by step all of your principles, how to coach a client, how to get clients, how to do workshops. It's a full encompassing course on how to be a life and relationship coach.
So you don't
using your principles.
And like, does somebody need to have a perfect relationship to do that, or they have to be married to do that?
I'm here to tell you no. I'm here to attest that you don't. I have a good one, but it's not perfect. But it has nothing to do with me. I'm coaching them on their relationship, not mine.
And and it's based upon the principles of Mars Venus. And
exactly.
And I'll say, for me, if I did not have a good relationship, this message would not have spread around the world. That I'm an authentic person, and people say to me, they'll say, "Well, what's it like? I mean, to have to be perfect in your relationship." I say, if you actually read my book, it doesn't require anybody to be perfect. That's the whole point of it.
It's what's interesting, John? You know what's even more interesting? I've done training all around the world, like I said, in 43 countries. And one thing I've learned, men are men and women are women, regardless of your language, your culture, and where you are. You've struck a chord that is common around the world.
Yeah, and it works for everybody if they feel the need for it. And the thing about it is, people go, well, gee, I'm having problems in my relationship. Well, this will help you with your problems. I can't tell you how much, when you start giving out my advice to people, you're listening to my advice. You'll put it into practice. And the thing about it is, when you're a teacher, you tend to attract the people who resonate with what you're going through, and you're just a step ahead of them. And if you can help people take one step, their life gets better. And that's the whole key to this. The perfection is not required. I know a lot of people go, oh, I'd love to be able to help people like this, but my life's a mess. I say, well, sometimes helping other people whose life is a mess is the best way for you to clear up your life. So
every coach has told us that, John, that the biggest benefit they got, not just helping people in fulfillment, but it changed their life.
And I know I could not have had my 32 years of bliss with my wife, Bonnie, with lots of ups and downs, if I wasn't teaching these ideas. They come into your awareness. When you're teaching somebody else, you can reflect on yourself, and you learn to be a better person by helping other people. And this is, we feel like we're helping the world one relationship at a time. And our own relationship is a part of that too.
Yeah. We'll see you all next week.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us on Tuesday. I do questions and answers, where I try not to give a whole big long talk, but we take some questions. You can send your questions in advance. And also I have Ken Walls, he'll be monitoring it, and he also gives questions. I usually have a host that hosts the questions, and they have their point of view too. It's sort of the male side, the female side. So it's a fun Tuesdays. And that's 1 hour later than this one. So this is Pacific time. We do this at 9 o'clock. And that one we start.
We do 10. That one's 11.
Oh, that one's 11, and this one's okay. All right.
Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. All right.
Thanks. Bye-bye. See you, John.
Thank you all.
Thank you for watching the Shades of Grey podcast with Dr. John Gray, best-selling author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe. And follow Dr. Gray on all social media platforms for more timeless relationship wisdom. For free tools to create deeper love and better communication, visit marsvenus.com and take Dr. Gray's free course, How to Get Everything You Want in Relationships. And don't miss next week's episode of the Shades of Grey podcast, where understanding brings us closer together.